Welcome to the WAVE Team Parent Meeting. I am Mrs. Louderback, your hostess today, and I teach science on the WAVE team, and I will be going through some of the slides today. I'm going to go ahead and unmute some of the teachers so that they can introduce themselves, and I do have to say, if I'm being completely honest, this is like my first full Zoom type meeting, so please be flexible with me as I learn some of the kinks here and material. So let's start with meeting some of your teachers.
So I'm Winston Heilman. I teach American history on the WAVE team. I also have a student teacher this year, Miss Douglas, so you might be hearing your student talk about Mr. Heilman or Miss Douglas, and that's history, or you may be hearing from both of us too. So welcome. We're glad to have your kids on the WAVE team this year.
Hey.
Hi, I'm Sherry Lewis. I teach skills for adolescents on the WAVE team, and I'm excited to work with your students this year.
Hello, I'm Miss McDaniel, and I'm the collaborative teacher for the WAVE team, and I provide student support systems throughout the team.
Hi, I'm Mary Beth Murphy, and I teach language arts on the WAVE team.
And I am Courtney Rainey, and I teach math here on the WAVE team.
Okay, perfect. All right. So let me go ahead and admit some people. All right. So today, the kind of purpose of this meeting and possibly future meetings is to kind of run through a few things. So the first one I want to talk about is appreciation. Thank you so much for attending this meeting. Kind of threw it out there as an idea to the team about ways to communicate with parents, and I'm so grateful that you're here today with us. And we're actually, I think, one of the first teams to pilot this type of open house parent meeting. So we really appreciate you doing this. The other agenda that we're going to look at today is kind of briefly talk about hybrid learning, how school looks like today. We'll talk about some expectations between teachers, students, and parents, ways that we can do communication between teachers and students, as well as parents and teachers. A lot of times, I think that's the biggest thing that we can do amongst each other is communication. We'll go over some helpful links for you in order to find key information for the team, as well as any information that you may need to help your student at home. And we're going to save the last part of the meeting for questions. So, hybrid learning. Oh my gosh. Here we are throwing a new term all of a sudden into the education world. You know, we're going from a traditional class, and all of a sudden in the springtime, we went from traditional to fully remote. And so we had to learn and navigate that briefly, and we, as teachers, learned quite a bit. Now we're going from what we thought a traditional class to a hybrid. So we're going to be looking at what is a hybrid. So essentially, this information here on the top came from our Moving Teaching and Learning Safely Forward that the district created. I just pulled straight from there and cited it. But essentially, we're using some enhanced instruction through digital resources, collaboration. We're providing learning opportunities through a digital learning platform. So we've got an A/B schedule. You've had a rough idea of what that looks like. A lot of this came from higher ups, and we're adapting to it as well. But we're essentially learning that it's going to be a blended type learning environment. So essentially what this means is your students going to receive learning and instruction physically in the classroom or online through a remote learning platform, which in this case will be Google Classroom. The exception to that are students who are fully remote, where all of your instruction will be received through Google Classroom. Now with the hybrid, different classes are following different types of models of hybrid, which we've discovered as a thing, different models of hybrid. So I believe SFA and math are doing what's known as synchronous hybrid learning, where they're learning the same, what they're learning in the physical classroom is the same as what they're learning at home. Or slightly similar. Sometimes we do have to tweak little things for what's available at home versus in the classroom. Science, history, and ELA are doing a type of asynchronous hybrid learning. So what the students are getting in the classroom is going to be completely different than what they're learning at home. However, that doesn't mean that they're going to completely miss out on what's happening in the classroom. The days that they're in the classroom, they will get a similar type instruction or the same that they're getting on the A day, they should get on the B day. So it's just a flipped type setting there. And then we have advisory as well. So what I want to really recognize is, parents and teachers as a whole. I know I'm a teacher, and I started off with the Whitney Houston song, kind of lighten the mood a little as we all go into this, but essentially we all want what's best for our kids. We see your students now 2 days in person, 3 days online. You see your student every day. We would not be here if it were not for the kids and our hope to help, lead them and get them going. So I just want to recognize, we've all done a lot of work. Nobody expected a pandemic to hit and to affect school systems. So everyone has been doing their best to help support their students, and you can rely on us as well. So let's get into the meat of this presentation, which is expectations, what you should expect from us. So couple of things, teacher's expectation. Our school our district motto is to work to inspire, oh no, there we go, to inspire, challenge, and prepare every student every day. So you can expect us to be professional, to build positive relationship, and to understand the value of each and every one of your students, your children. Specifically, what we plan to do is make sure our learning materials are posted in a timely manner, which will be found on either Google Classroom for specific day-to-day instructions, as well as our team website. Our instruction for our lessons will be clear, concise. We'll make sure that our learning is meaningful, especially given what's going on in today's society. We want to make sure that it has a good impact on the child. We will give feedback to our kids in a reasonable, timely manner. We're going to communicate, and we want to provide your student, you and your student support resources to help them be successful. All right. From the student side, we expect our students to learn and grow with a positive mindset to the best of their abilities. Every child is different. We recognize that. Every child has value. We recognize that. We just ask that they do their best and be respectful in the process. So more specifically, we found that it helps to have a designated space at the home for them to do school time, and that space is their school time. A lot of kids kind of had a hard time last spring with stress and anxiety and learning, because all of a sudden a lot of that stress came home. That was used to be a break, a reliever. So having a designated workspace is helpful. Be sure to advocate for their learning. It's even more so now that 3 days are at home. We're not there in person to see kids struggling. So if your student is struggling, please encourage them to reach out to their teachers to ask for help. Take their time and read through all assignments and resources. Sometimes a lot of confusion happens because they don't take the time to read. They do need to attend all required Google Meets. We're required by the state to have FaceTime with students every day. Our school has determined that that will be during advisory time. And we've already ran into some hiccups, I know, with some sports, and we're still working that out and what that looks like, but we appreciate everyone's flexibility in that. We ask that they turn in assignments on time, that they read through the feedback we give them, so that they can make the correction and see where they're learning. And a lot of that feedback now is going to be online, and it's going to be harder to do that face-to-face. So they almost have to learn how to go back to an assignment and revisit that. And then they need to be responsible and respectful to themselves, the people they're interacting with online, technology, and the school and classroom. As far as the parent expectations, we expect our parents to be supportive and positive. No one would have expected all of a sudden parents to take on the role as teachers, but I think everyone's been doing a fantastic job. We encourage you to collaborate with us if students are struggling or if you have some ideas that could help. We encourage you to be a positive role model. Your students are watching you at all times. And then we encourage you to be flexible to change, because change will happen whether we like it or not. And we all have to adapt to that. So specifically what we're looking at is communicating to us. And that's kind of why we're doing this meeting. And hopefully the goal is to try to do a meeting once a month, is to build on that communication. We ask that you model good behavior in learning and technology practices. Again, students, they're always watching, and technology can be so frustrating at times, wonderful and frustrating, but how we react to those situations, those kids then take on those reactions and they take on that mindset. So we want to make sure we're trying to do the best that we can, being positive and flexible. We encourage you to learn with your student, the content and the technology. And then when you get with those hiccups, try to figure out with your student ways to work the situation, ways to figure out how to either communicate your needs or ways to solve problems. We encourage you to monitor your students' grades with Infinite Campus and Google Classroom and have those discussions with your students. And we encourage you to be open-minded, positive, and flexible to this new form of schooling. Just to kind of have the teachers be the example, but also, parents as a whole are big examples in students' lives as well. So bringing on to the communication piece, the big thing. There's 3 types of communication that can occur. Email is the most preferred method for your teachers. It is the fastest method of communicating, and it's fastest in terms of like quick responses. Normally we can respond at least by the end of the day if they're short questions. If your student is having trouble with a specific assignment or struggling with the learning process, we encourage them to reach out for their office hours. So office hours you can find on the teacher's web page, and that's a designated time that teacher is available during the day where they can meet and help students. And so we really encourage them to advocate for that. And then we have what's known as team time. And we typically have that time to address very specific concerns with students. And this is I would say like an all hands on deck approach. During our team time, we only have all of our teachers present, but the counseling staff and the administrative staff as well. So this is really meant to be like a third kind of high tier need if a student is becoming a struggle either academically or behaviorally, that kind of thing. So, but obviously email, that's the biggest, most easiest form of communicating. And then you can go from there. In this process, technology will be your friend, and there are different types of avenues for the technology. So obviously there's Parent Portal, which is Infinite Campus, where you can find your students' grades and attendance. Google Classroom, some of us may have had a very rough start to Google Classroom in the spring, but that's where the bulk of your students' learning will take place. Remind is what we use to send quick announcements out to students and parents. So some of you may have gotten a remind message about today's meeting, or a remind message for, I think we did on Monday, the B kids to get started and check their assignments. You can receive remind messages either via email or text, and information that is on the website. Gmail is also another one that you want to try to get familiar with, your students' Gmail account, because they will get emails every day. And then our team website. And I'm actually going to use this time to get to the team website. I think that's the next one. Okay, actually it's on here, but yeah, campus portal, remind, and then team website. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of the slideshow and show you our team website. So this is our team website. We encourage our students to bookmark it on their Chromebooks at home. If you need to find the website on the school district account, you have to go to staff information, and you have to scroll all the way down the staff information until you get to the WAVE team, and then it's found there. But this Google slide, this video, you know, we'll have access for that as well. But it's where you can find. Oh, great. Mr. Hammond put the link in the chat. So if you want to bookmark this, we encourage you to do it. We have the information here for signing up for Remind. Your student should be signed up, but we encourage parents to as well. We have a team Instagram account where we like to show off what our kids are doing in the class, as well as announcements there. And then we have specific pages for teachers, parents, and students. So the teachers pages, which are also found up here, this is where you can meet your teachers. But it's also where you can see our personalities. But the drop-down arrows will take you to our specific websites. So I have my website right here. And then this is where you can find specific information in terms of how to contact us, as well as the office hours. So if your student is working from home and they need additional help, you can, they can go to the office hours if they need to call or do some sort of meeting, and then as well as information on the FaceTime. Or not FaceTime, information. I mean, it is FaceTime, the advisory daily check-ins. I call it FaceTime. So the parents' information, we need to fix the drop-down arrow, but if you just click on the parent page, that's gonna give you specific information to help your student at home. We've got graphics to help, you know, distinguish some of the roles that you can take on, some information regarding the monthly meeting. We have the slide up of the meeting, but we will also put the video recording that's happening right now on the parent page as well for those parents who could not attend today. And then there's also some helpful links as well that you can go to. Now the student support, we'll go over a little bit of our team policies. Again, when it comes to like computer connections, student privacy, that kind of situation, what they really need to get familiar with is the weekly agenda page. Okay, this is where we've taken all of our weekly assignments and posted it on this web page. So when your student is working from home and they're saying, for instance, I don't have anything to do in science, you can check the weekly page here, and you can pull it up to see what the assignments are. So today, if they have science, they should be working on vocabulary. And we have that up for our team accounts, okay? We don't have any intervention or elective classes, but we can only control what our team does. So this is mainly for your students' core classes: history, science, skills for adolescents, ELA, and then their math classes. All right, so this will be a lifesaver, and I encourage kids to bookmark this page as well when they need to, when they're working from home. All right, and then we've got these other helpful links here as well. Oops. So this Google Toolkit, I follow Google on Twitter a lot, and this came up on the Twitter feed, and I think it's a great resource. It's a little page to help for guardians in terms of what to expect for Google. Here is a video series. So if you need how-to tutorials on figuring out Google platforms, they have a glossary term, best practice for family engagement, and frequently asked questions. This is also on our website as well. And then we've also linked here support.google. So if you have specific issues that you're struggling with on the Google platform, you can click here and it'll give you step-by-step directions based on the material. All right. So at this point, that's it. I did a really good job timing this. I wanted it to be about 30 minutes long because I understand you're on your lunch schedule. I'm going to open it up for questions. So if you have any questions, you can type it into the chat box and I can answer it. Or if you feel comfortable, I can unmute you and you can speak to your device and I can try my best to answer. Please note though, I may not have all the answers, but I can write down your question and hopefully answer them by the next month's meeting. Okay, so I've got one that raised her hand, so I'm gonna try to unmute Miss Cervantes, I think. I'm gonna unmute her, or maybe request she unmute. There we go. Is there a question?
Hi, my first name is actually pronounced Allison.
Okay, all right.
And so my question is for if you're still in hybrid in second quarter, is there a plan in place for a child to transition from remote to hybrid?
I believe that is a yes. I think we are as a school going to allow that switch at the end of the quarter.
Right.
That would be something that when the end of the quarter comes in approximately 5 to 6 weeks, you would want to contact the counselor, which would be Miss Susan Holmes, and express your desire to either go from remote to back to hybrid or go from hybrid and go to remote.
Okay, so I've been in touch actually with the principal, and so I do know that information.
Yes.
But as far as an educational plan, you'll just transition them into the classroom then?
Yes, yeah. So their schedule should probably be their schedule won't change. So I can say from my science side, all the remote kids I left in their specific schedule hour. And I know some teachers put the remote kids in a separate online Google Classroom. And what they would probably do would just be when they come into the school, have them sign up for the in-person school classroom.
Okay,
yeah,
so
we have
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no,
they have an older sibling actually, that's group A, so they would actually stay on B. They wouldn't go to A with their older sibling.
That would be whether or not they're an A student or B student would be determined from the administration, which
Okay.
would be Ms. Holmes and Mr. Dial. So we don't have, that's something that's out of our control.
Okay, no problem. Okay,
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Are there any in the, should I open up the?
Great work.
Are there any in the chat feature that I need to address? You've answered most of them? Okay. So. Any other questions? I mean, Mr. Heilman is doing a great job monitoring the chat questions in the chat feature. If there's anything else that I should address to the whole group, let me know. So. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, so, so our plan is to do this monthly. so that we can keep the communication feed open between parents and teachers. But at this point, that's pretty much it. Unless you have specific concerns, I'll stay on a little bit longer, and we'll monitor the chat. But just a reminder, make sure your students are emailing us if they have any questions or concerns. And advisory time is a great time to go through that. We have a lot of kids who are, they're checking in during advisory, and sometimes when they're at home, they don't always want to say what their concerns are after they've done some assignments. So, that email will be a good way for us to help as well. And there's a chat feature in the account as well. But other than that, the first Wednesday of every month, we'll be doing this type of Google meeting. So we are excited to go through this process with you. So I'll stay on the line a little bit longer. I'll probably put the music back on, and you are welcome to either stay on and ask questions, or you can go ahead and leave the meeting. But thank you so much for coming. Bye. I'm working on it.
Can I ask a quick question real quick?
Yes, you can.
Okay. I have 4 kids in 4 different schools. So my question mainly is, there's a lot of different links for all this information. Is there one site that I can get all the information so I'm not getting repeated things over and over again?
So our team website is the best for our team specifically. As far as the other schools, I wish I had a better answer for that, but that's something that is, again, out of our control in the communication process.
I was actually talking to the team in general. So if I'm on all the different links for your team, then I'm just assuming I'm going to get the information repeated. So just to get on the website would be the best thing than to do the reminder, the website, Google, and all of that. Do you get what I'm asking?
Yes. So I would not say it's not the same information. So we try to make sure it's all the same. Remind will also be student specific. So for instance, on Monday, we sent out information on the Remind for the B kids to make sure they check their email and to log into Google Classroom to do their assignment. That was not placed on the website. That was, again, a student little quick announcements.
Okay.
But in terms of sending out links to the Zoom link, we like to, the Zoom link today, we want to make sure that we provide that information on multiple platforms so that anybody can have access depending on what resource they're using.
Okay. Thank you for answering that.
Yeah, no problem.
You guys have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.
I have a quick question.
Okay.
My son is having a hard time with just figuring out, I guess, exactly what to do from reading it versus having someone verbally tell him. And we don't have really the resources to be able to be there. I mean, I am home a few days a week, but when I'm home, I'm in my own classes for nursing school, so I can't stop what I'm doing to help him. So if he's falling behind on getting work put in because he just doesn't understand it and we don't have the time to go through every single thing with him, how will that affect their grades? How is that all going to work out?
Well, please note that all of us are going to be pretty flexible in this, especially as we're trying to learn and navigate the outcomes of meeting this. So when they're at home and they're doing those advisory check-ins, that is the ideal time that they can ask for specific help from their advisory teacher if they need it. Now, if it's an assignment, let's say science, they're doing their science lesson and they're struggling figuring it out. Communication is key. Most of us all of us are pretty flexible and wanting to help. So if they can communicate that they need help with email, we can hop on and do a quick chat. They have a chat feature, or we can also if it's an office hour, if they can come in on the office hour, we might be able to do a Google Meet and do that assistance as well. If they get further behind, that's part of why we don't have part of what Wednesday is. So if they continue to get further behind and their grades are significantly affected, Wednesdays are designated for intervention days. So your student can and teacher can discuss whether or not they should come in on Wednesday to get specific help to in order to catch up, so to speak.
Yeah, because he was explaining that like his check-in time at 2:20, which he's done this week, is only for that one class. And I was like, it's not like an advisory where you can ask about all of your classes. He's like, no, it's just that one class.
Yeah, so they can ask about different classes. Now, if I get a question about math, you know, I may have to like write down some notes and then talk to Miss Rainey about what's happening in math. And I would encourage your student to also reach out and encourage that too. And we've all been telling the students that too. You know, we can't see you at home. We don't know what's going on. So if you are struggling or need assistance, let us know. Even today, I had about 10 emails today of students asking me various questions from the assignment yesterday to the current assignment today.
Yeah, the science assignment, it's totally over his head. And I haven't had a chance to look at it because I've been in class for the last 3 days.
Yeah, he's really, and that's why that self-advocating piece was it was like 1 or 2 on my list, because if we don't know, we can't help. And so
yeah, I feel like he just doesn't want to reach out. He just wants me to sit down with him and go through all of it. And I like, we physically just don't have the time.
And that might be a conversation that you have with your student, like, hey, I'm also having school time as well. And anytime that I have an issue with a professor, I have to reach out. I have to communicate. And your teachers are friendly and nice, and they want to help. But you have to sometimes you have to take that first step and reach out to get the help. And all of us are willing to do that. But if we don't know, you know, that's the one flaw of the hybrid learning. We only see them 2 days a week. It's hard to judge those 2 days whether they've got it or not. And then finding that time. So that advocating piece is huge. Later on, as the quarter progresses and we start getting more assignments, it'll be easier to see which kids need to come to intervention. But the problem with that is if they wait too long, we're trying to run and play catch up rather than to be progressive. So if they could be progressive from the very beginning in getting the help they need and advocating to their teacher that they need help, that'll be the biggest lifesaver in their success.
Okay, and then I just have one more follow-up question. Is there any way that like they could potentially, the teachers could set up a Zoom meeting or something with the computer pointed at them? Like, he's a B-Day student, so on A days, they could have the B students log in to watch what you guys are teaching live somehow? I mean...
Yeah, see, and
I don't know.
That is, so I can say from science, no. Because...
Hi, is this Joe?
It's because...
Hello, is this Joe? Hello, my name's Alice. I'm with AT&T Return.
So I can say from science, no, because I'm trying to make all my in-person days lab days, which is completely different than what they're learning in school, or sorry, at home, which will be direct instruction. Now, what I've done personally is, for my class, I made a video of myself explaining what the lesson will be and going through that so that they see a face and they can see the pages they need to. But some of the teachers aren't doing that. So I can't say that we'll do a Zoom meeting every hour, just because it's honestly, sometimes the advisory gets a little stressful for me, because we've got kids in class who are asking for help, kids on the virtual meeting who are asking for help, and it's getting pulled in several directions. Now, if they contact during the office hours, which is on, you know, let's see if I can exit out of here and pull up the website. If they contact during the office hours and say, probably, I am needing assistance. I am so lost. I need help. So mine would be 8:15 to 8:45. And then Wednesdays I have a little more flexibility. The teacher, depending on the teacher, might be able to get onto a Google Meet and explain things a little better, or call the student, or have the student call, like I have my phone number here, have the student call and be able to walk them through it. But as far as like an hourly Zoom meeting, that's not gonna really happen. But that's, I'm sorry to say, but that's just a little overloading us personally. But again, those office hours and reaching out, that's the best thing.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, any other? Okay, I'll just wait. Okay, so at this point it is 12:45, and so I'm gonna go ahead and, or sorry, 12:41, but I'm gonna go ahead and end the meeting, and this will be recorded and placed. Is there another question? Oh, don't end it yet? Okay, I've been told not to end it yet, so I guess we're gonna wait. This will be fun editing later on. Of course, if you are have all your questions answered, that should be good, but. We're good? Okay. All right. Well, again, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here. I will go ahead and end the meeting at this point, and I will, if I don't hear from you between now and next month, otherwise I'll see you next month. All right. So